This week in game news, we have plenty of news about fighting games. QuakeCon has begun, and we have a lot of interesting news from World of Games, and some cool screenshots of the Technomancer, an upcoming RPG for the PS4, Xbox One, and PC. We'll have more to say about the Technomancer when this and other games are revealed in full during Gamescom in a couple weeks. This is the Blackman and Robin Game News Update. First off, EVO 2015 happened last week. The annual Las Vegas fighting game-focused event featured tournaments, reveals, and apparently Jamie Lee Curtis. This year, Curtis attended the fighting game tournament incognito, wearing the mask of Street Fighter character Vega to avoid drawing attention to herself. According to Curtis, she does play quite a bit of Street Fighter with her son, and was attending the event with him, albeit while disguised. During the Guilty Gear XRD signed semi-finals match, pro players Woshige and Ogawa were having quite the duel. Woshige wasn't doing too well, but suddenly, he pulled a reversal during the game, stood up, and celebrated. Then, this happened.
Oh my God! Genius! So smart, he couldn't burst because of the super. But Woshige thinks it's over! But he won the last round! And Ogawa doesn't care! He's still got 65%! Oh my God! Woshige, no! Woshige, not like this! What are you standing up for? Why? Oh my God! Woshige thought it was over and stood up, and Ogawa gave him no remorse!
Moral of the story? Do not celebrate until you see KO. Ogawa won the Guilty Gear XRD tournament, while Momochi took home first place for Street Fighter IV. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 went to Kane Blue River, while Super Smash Bros. Melee was won by Adam Armada Lindgren. Gonzalo Zero Barrios won first place for Super Smash Bros. 4. In Street Fighter news, during EVO 2015, Capcom unveiled a brand new Street Fighter V character named Nikali. He has a very fierce fighting style, and apparently, his beautifully animated hair has the funny tendency to go Super Saiyan at times. Take a look. Released on the 3DS this week, 3D Streets of Rage 2 is a remake of the 1992 beat-em-up. What sets this version of the game apart from the original is that it's been remade in stereoscopic 3D, meaning that if you crank up the 3D slider on your 3DS, this 2D game will have 3D layers, which is pretty neat.
You know, kind of the whole idea of NARC came out, and I was like, let's do it.
Let's go!
Finally, in fighting game news, Insert Coin Inside Midway's 90s Revolution hit Kickstarter. It's an upcoming documentary on the influence of Midway on the game industry, particularly on Midway's influence within the arcades in the 90s. Midway, mind you, was responsible for some real hits: NBA Jam, Mortal Kombat, the Cruisin' series, Robotron, and many more. Insert Coin features interviews with developers, an inside look at how famous games wound up being created, and behind-the-scenes footage that's not been seen before. The Kickstarter for Insert Coin aims to raise $75,000, and it runs until August 17, 2015. If this sounds like your sort of documentary, you'll want to check it out.
$1 billion in its first 12 months.
The rocket just took off because we had so many hits in a row.
And we really reached a point where we were maximizing the amount of money that a game could make.
They had made an error and I had over $1 million on my paycheck.
We're gonna fly in Steven Spielberg's Learjet.
You know, we brought Aerosmith in to work on the game, flew him in for 2 days. I mean, that was crazy.
And the one consistent theme throughout all of them was that they loved to party.
I would stand out there and tell every single kid had their autograph. I knew this was a once-in-a-lifetime thing.
So, I mean, look at all the games in the 90s, just amazing stuff.
You know, everybody can say Midway did this really well. Midway did this really well. Midway didn't do it really well. The people did it really well.
And now for something completely different. Prune, a minimalist puzzle game about tree maintenance, has just been released on iOS. If you own an iDevice and you're looking for a soothing puzzle game about cutting up foliage, you'll definitely want to check out Prune. The thing about Prune that caught my eye was its lovely art style. While you're cutting trees in Prune, your goal is actually to help them grow to their full height. Thus far, the game has gotten pretty good critical reception. If you like gardening, minimalist art, and puzzle games, and especially like these things combined, you'll want to take a look at Prune. A rather exciting game release for mobile devices this week was Pac-Man Championship Edition DX. Having played the game on PC, it's one that I can definitely vouch for. It's a bit more complex than previous editions of Pac-Man, as in, it's possible for there to be a ton of enemies on screen. The level doesn't end as soon as you clear the maze. Rather, you keep running and running and running, picking up dots and then clearing each side over and over again, and after you clear each side, you pick up a fruit, and the side changes. The maze is reformed, filled with new dots, and new hazards. Pac-Man Championship Edition is a fantastic new take on the Pac-Man formula. It remixes the original game in very cool ways. While I'm honestly not sure how the mobile edition of the game handles, considering the different controls, thus far it's gotten really good reception. If this looks like your sort of Pac-Man, you may want to pick it up. If you're after a puzzle game with a bit more challenge, the programming game TIS-100 has been released on Steam. Coming from Zachtronics, the developers behind SpaceChem and Infinifactory, TIS-100 is a rather unique game in which you are rewriting corrupted code segments in order to repair a computer. It's among the more complex of the puzzle games, and it's definitely worth checking out. TIS-100 is available for Mac, PC, and Linux. Thus far, the game has gotten great response from the press, as well as from fans who tend to be of a programming background. On July 23rd, bullet hell game Zenezenzik was released on Steam. The game's art style caught my eye, and according to the developer, the visual style is the result of his not being an artist. During a live stream of the game, I asked what inspired the aesthetic, and apparently he started with a simple square when making the game and built out from there. The gameplay is inspired by some other games that the developer enjoys, including Jamestown and Super Hexagon. Currently, Zenezenzik is available for Mac, PC, and Linux. Film noir adventure game Blues and Bullets was released on Steam this week. The first episode of this game puts you in the shoes of Elliot Ness, former leader of the Untouchables. You thought you'd made your way out, but they've pulled you right back in again. Dropped headfirst back into the world of the mob, you've got to save Mr. Capone's beloved little daughter. At least, that's as much as the trailer reveals. The game has been described as a rather dark take on a David Cage-style game meets L.A. Noire. While it's currently only available on PC, the developers are planning to bring Blues and Bullets to the Xbox One. I've not played the game, but I'm blown away by its aesthetics. Besides the Sin City-style color popping, the devs have released the game's main theme on SoundCloud, and it is beautiful. Upon checking the ESRB's site, Blues and Bullets is not yet rated. However, according to the developers, it seems that they're anticipating an M rating for Blues and Bullets. If you're looking for a film noir game that you can share with the kids, I'd recommend something more along the lines of Hot Tin Roof, which is an absolutely fantastic Metroidvania. In DLC news, The Talos Principle: Road to Gehenna, an expansion to the critically acclaimed first-person puzzler The Talos Principle, is out now on Steam. This expansion consists of 4 episodes and follows Uriel, Elohim's messenger, as he explores secret places in the game. I'm guilty of having not yet played the base game, but I have heard fantastic things about the Talos Principle. Besides being praised for its gameplay, the story is also widely hailed as fantastic. If you already own the Talos Principle, this DLC is great news. If you don't own the Talos Principle, you may want to play the game's demo, which gives you a bit of an idea of how it plays. It's a rather philosophically oriented puzzle game. You don't have to explain the sound of one hand clapping to figure out Vitalos' principle, but you do have to give things a fair bit of thought. If you love Star Wars and RPGs, you might be pleased to hear that Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic 2, has been updated for the first time in several years. This fantastic Star Wars RPG now features 37 new achievements, Steam Cloud saving, resolution support for up to 4 and 5K monitors, as well as controller support. This includes Xbox 360, Xbox One controllers, and PS3 and PS4 controllers. Additionally, the developers worked with the Restored Content mod team to make sure that their mod would work when the update was released. The Restored Content mod, in case you don't know what it is, essentially uncut content that was cut from Knights of the Old Republic 2. The content was only partially removed from the finished game, and so those traces that were left behind were sufficient for these folks to add the content back into the game, expanding the story as well as the gameplay. So, why is all this happening? Well, the game is now available for Mac and Linux thanks to Asper, which you may know for their fantastic Mac ports of other games. If you're a Star Wars fan and you've not yet played the Knights of the Old Republic series, I strongly recommend you check it out. Knights of the Old Republic 2 is on sale for 25% off until July 28th. This week, we don't have any news regarding the upcoming Mirror's Edge Catalyst, but we do have this awesome real-life Mirror's Edge video created by parkour artist Claudio Boisu. You can follow him on Twitter at Claudio Boisu, and check out more of his work at claudioboisu.co.uk. This video was created by combining clips of real parkour with bits of audio from the original Mirror's Edge. Speaking of games available on Mac, LEGO Jurassic World is now available on OS X thanks to Feral Interactive. LEGO Jurassic World is yet another fun LEGO game that retells the stories of the Jurassic Park franchise with a humorous LEGO spin. If you're a fan of the LEGO games, it's well worth checking out. Let's say that your Steam library is absolutely bursting at the seams with cool games. How long will it take you to finish all of them? Well, good news, there's a new website out this week called How Long to Beat Steam. It calculates how long exactly it'll take you to finish every game in your Steam library. Not only will it show you how many years it'll take to either go through all the main quests and campaigns of your games, you can also set it to determine how long it'll take you to beat every single game completely. That is, if you're gaming non-stop. Assuming you have a life, you can also ask How Long to Beat Steam how many years of your life will be left if you game for a set number of hours each week. Apparently, if I game for 12 hours a week with the goal of beating everything completely, all 300 and something of my games, I'll still have about 41.5 years of my life left over to play other games. A gameplay trailer has been released for Submerged, a post-apocalyptic adventure game from an Australian team of developers who worked on a number of AAA games, including the BioShock series. In the game, you play as a girl named Miku. Your little brother has been badly injured, and you need to navigate a flooded and lonely city to find medical supplies to keep him alive. The game is set to be released on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC sometime soon. Personally, I'm rather excited for this one. I like the premise, and the art is quite promising. The gameplay looks pretty decent as well, and what I'm most excited for, though, is figuring out what the story is. Apparently, it's one of those stories that's told not very much through dialogue, but more so through the environments. Also, when looking through the game's concept art, I found some strange-looking whale. It almost looked to be infected with something. Perhaps the game's apocalypse was caused by some sort of plague? Perhaps. I look forward to playing this one when it's ready. Another game coming from former AAA developers, Mooncrest, has been announced. In development by the ex-BioWare devs of the newly minted studio Nightmare, they're promising to put their experiences together to create an RPG with gameplay inspired by Knights of the Old Republic, Jade Empire, Dark Souls, and puzzles from classic adventure games. It'd be rash to make predictions about a game project that, for now, is just a few promises and some concept art, but considering the talent that's on it, I'll be keeping an eye on Mooncrest. Over on the J Brothers Z YouTube channel, a video was uploaded that shows off an automatic way to collect new pieces in the 3DS Puzzle Swap game. If you're incredibly lazy and need a machine to play your video games for you, this may be your future. It's a very neat project, of course, and you can check out the full video over on his channel, youtube.com/jbrothersz.
Dr. Cortex is a genius, a mental aberration. He's totally fixated on world domination.
David Siller, producer on the original Crash Bandicoot, uploaded an unused 2D Crash Bandicoot cartoon to YouTube. Apparently, the cartoon was going to be the game's intro, but thanks to Sony wanting to push marketing on the game's 3D features for the PlayStation 1, it never got used. A pity, really, since it is a rather neat intro. Also, see if you can spot the Universal logo. Interestingly enough, Universal was planning to produce a Crash Bandicoot cartoon. Unfortunately, that didn't quite work out either.
He doesn't have a clue about how to proceed.
His heart's in the right place. His brain's been rearranged.
Unsuccessfully. Crash Bandicoot. If Cortex isn't beaten, he'll reign absolute. Crash Bandicoot. Play our game and tell your friends so we'll make lots of loot.
If you're looking for some good deals on some good games, you might want to check out the Humble Bundle this week at humblebundle.com. This week it's the Humble Jumbo Bundle 4, and it brings some big games for a little money. There's Outland, Fallen Enchantress Legendary Heroes, and Mercenary Kings in the pay-what-you-want/$1 Steam Key tier. Endless Space Emperor Edition, The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing 2, and the Stanley Parable are in the Beat the Average tier. For $18, you'll also get Space Engineers, and that's not actually the cheapest price that Space Engineers has ever been, but if you don't own any of the games in the bundle and you're willing to pay $18 for everything, it's a pretty good deal. Personally, I can vouch for Outland. It's a rather interesting platformer in which you switch colors in order to fight enemies of different colors, Ikaruga style. It's a great and stylish Metroidvania, and I also have many good things to say about the Stanley Parable, a first-person adventure that breaks the fourth wall with impunity. It's a very meta sort of commentary on video games and the way that video games tell stories, and it's hard to talk about without spoiling, but I can recommend Beating the Average just to get that game. It's truly brilliant. If you own a PlayStation 4, I have some good news and some bad news if you are excited for the upcoming Rise of the Tomb Raider. The good news is that we now have a launch window of when the game is coming out. The bad news is that it's a whole year after the Xbox One version thanks to an exclusivity deal. While Rise of the Tomb Raider is coming to the Xbox One this November, the PlayStation 4 version of the game is set to come out in the 2016 holiday season. If you're playing the game on a PC, good news. You'll be getting Rise of the Tomb Raider sometime next spring. Shadows, an expansion for the turn-based fantasy strategy game Endless Legend, has been announced. Endless Legend's Shadows expansion will bring an espionage system to the game, allowing you to spy on your opponents, and it also adds the Shadows, a brand new faction specializing in espionage. Their units will have features based around stealth, such as camouflage, which brings invisibility, and that really sounds quite terrifying for a turn-based strategy game. Endless Legend is a really great game. If you're a fan of the Civilization series, but you're in the mood for a more fantastical version, you'll definitely want to check it out.
The time for payment of ancient debts has come. The price will be high, and we will be paid in full.
As mentioned earlier, QuakeCon is going on, and some really good news came out of it for Fallout fans. The really great mobile game Fallout Shelter will be coming to Android on August 13, 2015. The game was released on iOS last month, and it's a huge success. In Fallout Shelter, you're building, you guessed it, a fallout shelter, and you have to manage the survivors within. In the weeks since its release, Fallout Shelter has been touted as an example of how to do a mobile game right. Regarding Fallout 4, some new details have been unveiled, To begin with, there are a ton of NPCs who will be your companions in the game. There's the old standby Dogmeat, there's Mr. Handy, Preston Garvey, and a brand new character named Piper. Additionally, there's been a whole lot of voice work done for Fallout 4. Many names have been pre-recorded so that NPCs will say them. So far, over 1,000 names have been recorded for Mr. Handy to say. Even if your name is McFly, he'll say it to you. Additionally, changes have been made to the leveling system. Your perks in Fallout 4 are now tied to your special stats. Previously, your perks were tied to your level. Hence, the stats that are high in your special determine what perks you have. Also announced during QuakeCon was the Fallout Anthology, which features Fallout 1, 2, Fallout Tactics, Fallout 3, and Fallout New Vegas Ultimate Edition. Set to be released on September 29, 2015 for North America, October 1st for New Zealand and Australia, and October 2nd for Europe, the Fallout Anthology ships in a mini-nuke case. Thus far, Bethesda has only confirmed the Fallout Anthology collection for the PC. There's no word of an Xbox One or PlayStation 4 release. Finally, the first minute of gameplay from the upcoming steampunk game 20,000 Leagues Above the Clouds has been released. Check it out.
That's what I'm saying, Humbert. That Tempest was hardly within the statistical boundaries. Oh, hello.
Well, that's it for this week's game news. Be sure to follow at Blackman and Robin on Twitter and Instagram for all the latest game news, reviews, previews, and interviews. Be sure to follow me at Jordan_Cameron for my other views.